are listening to the Ultimate Deck podcast, and that's my new intro.
That's pretty new, yeah. You caught me off guard for sure.
For 16 episodes, I've been saying, welcome to the Ultimate Deck podcast, and I feel like I've worn it out a little bit already, so we'll try that. Shane Chapman here, host of the Ultimate Deck podcast, here with my friend Wade Laurent again, because he's decided he's going to show up.
Spring, I'm back.
Numerous episodes in a row now, which is really neat.
We look back on that podcast, you were kind of giving me a bit of flack for being gone for so many, and then back, and then gone again, like Holiday King. And I watched it. I was in 3 in a row. So
yeah, we joked about it being 2 in a row, and I think it ended up being more than that even. I think it was more like 5 in a row. Yeah. We dogged you, and you didn't even defend yourself.
Apologize.
Which is the kind of business relationship I enjoy, actually. One where the other guy doesn't defend himself.
Yeah.
Something else I've done a lot lately is say, hey, we're here with some special guests. And that I'm going to stick with. We're here with some special guests again. So we've got some folks from Deckorators here today. Jase and DeBoer, who is the Senior Marketing Manager. And I said your last name correctly, I think.
That's right.
Beautiful. And Shannon Bertrand, the Account Manager, or what else are we going to call you?
Regional Sales Manager for Canada.
Sure, for Canada. So welcome.
Did you give yourself that title? Did that just happen?
Just
now.
It's earned.
You earned it? Okay.
I feel like that sounds freshly made up from like 7 minutes ago. Right? We should give ourselves titles at some point.
Yeah, promoted.
See, what do I want to be? I want to be the COO. That's how I'm going to do.
Sure, operating officer.
Yep.
Things like that. So welcome to the show, you guys. It's exciting to have you guys on.
Thanks for having us.
Why don't we start with telling us a little bit about yourselves? We've known you for about 3 hours now.
Right.
Maybe the rest of the world should find out about you.
Sure. I'm Jase DeBoer. I've been with Deckorators for about 7 years now, and I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Wait, isn't Deckorators only like 3 months old?
Yeah.
How's that even possible?
Maybe we should get into that a little bit. Yeah.
We'll save that one for later. Continue.
Yeah. So, I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So I'm not Canadian, but maybe unofficially, I'm kind of Canadian. I'm close.
You spent enough time in Canada now at this point that our government is willing to give you a passport. That's how it goes.
So
if you want to stay, you can.
Right. I'm married. I have 3 kids, a son and 2 twin daughters, and it's busy at home and busy in this really fun industry right now. So
you bet.
Yeah.
Good. Shannon, how about you?
Well, I am Shannon Bertrand, Regional Sales Manager for Deckorators in Canada. I've actually been in the building products industry for 16 years.
Wow.
Started in 2003 before I started my family, and have managed to grow my career and my family at the same time. I got approached with this position or opportunity at Deckorators a year ago, and what really appealed to me was their innovation and their growth potential and being a part of that. And I have to say, the past year has been awesome, and there's a ton of new and exciting things coming down the line.
Busy, awesome, fun, fantastic. Yeah, it's been a big ride.
Awesome. That's actually what attracted me to doing business with Wade as well, was his innovation and growth potential.
I've grown 20 pounds since we met.
He's grown 20 pounds.
Nowhere to go but up.
And he's my first friend to have like variegated hair color.
Yes.
He's got like great streaking in there.
The coloring is adding up too, right? It's like more and more.
It's like an ironwood or like a...
Yeah. It's like a Ipe that's been sunned a little
fine
bit.
Ipe, right.
Yeah, we got a good mix in there.
So I parted it, and then a comb over to make myself look younger. It's not working. It's still gray.
So I touched on a little bit earlier about the fact that Deckorators hasn't been around that long, but that's not true. Of course, it's been around longer than probably most people understand, but the brand is kind of an up-and-comer as far as actual deck boards go. So why don't you give us a bit of history on there?
Absolutely. So, yeah, it's an interesting topic. We're in front of builders or at a trade show, and, they'll say, you guys are fairly new. And, what we respond with is, we've been making composite decking for nearly 20 years. And some brands that you may be familiar with, like Latitudes. So we've been doing decking for quite a long time in a wood plastic sense. And, we have some new technologies we can certainly talk about as well. And Deckorators as a brand really is about the same, probably a good 20 years old. And that brand introduced the round aluminum black baluster to the market, taking railing from, the standard 2x2 wood balusters to this new take on railing. And at the same time, we got into, creating post caps. And so we've really been a railing and a railing accessory brand for years. And I think the newness factor really comes in when we introduced decking into the brand probably about 4 or 5 years ago, just to expand and say, we have a brand that's called Deckorators, and where's the decking? And so we really rounded out our profile and said we do railing, balusters, post caps, decking, you name it in the outdoor living space, we're in it. So, and we've been doing it for quite a while.
So how has that been for you, the kind of challenge it's been moving Deckorators from being known as an accessory brand to a decking brand? Because if you would have asked me, let's say 3 years ago, or even 3 hours ago, whatever, right? If you would have said, give me the number one brand in balusters and post caps and decking, I would have right away said Deckorators. That's the brand I think of when I think of accessories for your deck.
Right.
Because you see that stuff in the box stores, right? Like I've seen it before, and it's like that's where it is. You see it all the time.
Sure.
Right?
But if you told me 3 years ago to name the top 10 decking companies, I don't know for sure that Deckorators would be in there as a brand. Yeah, top 10 it probably would be, but top 5 it probably wouldn't be.
Right.
So what kind of, you're used to being the number one in your category. What's it been like trying to claw your way up in the decking category?
It's clawing is I'm not sure if it's been so much of a claw. We've really just worked hard to take what we've built with the Deckorators brand and really apply it to decking in a way that we felt comfortable with this brand we built outside of decking. We were really careful to put it on something we believed in. We knew if we come out with decking that it had to be something different. You can't come out with just another deck board because, as you guys know, there's quite a few of those out there. So what are we going to do different that lives up to the Deckorators brand? And the whole game for us, and Shannon mentioned earlier, is innovate, be different, solve problems. And that's really what we've been trying to do, is solve builders' problems, innovate, and be different. And so we certainly have a wood plastic technology that we introduced to begin with, but we knew we had in the wings just an incredible technology that was going to take the industry in a different direction. And so, we've really enjoyed growing in the last 4 or 5 years, and the last year or two has just been exponential. So.
You mentioned wood plastic composite versus PVC. We're familiar with that. We've done a podcast on that, on the differences between those two, because that's the two most common categories of maintenance-free or low-maintenance decking nowadays.
Right.
You claim to be neither. Tell us how that is. Or at least a couple of your lines are neither.
Absolutely. We offer a wood plastic decking technology that you can get in our Classic, Vista, and Heritage line. We have a unique technology called Eovations, which doesn't neatly fit into those two areas of wood plastic or PVC. It's a really unique technology that we've researched and developed and patented over the years. And you'll see that technology in our Frontier decking, Vault decking, our new Voyage decking for this year, the new picture frame board, as well as some new products that Shannon can talk about too, with our sleeper system. So it doesn't fit neatly into those two categories.
Yeah. So why don't we go through what's new for 2019, kind of one at a time, and we'll pick it all apart. And I'm just kidding, we won't pick it apart, but let's find out what's go for it, and we'll put you in your place, she says. Let's go through some of the stuff that's new for 2019 with Deckorators.
Absolutely. So Jase touched on the Eovations. I just want to give a little bit of a higher level of what Eovations means. So we kind of coined it as a non-wood composite. So it's plastic and mineral fibers. So it makes it super light as compared to WPC. Highest strength weight ratio on the market. Virtually no expansion and contraction, and ground and water compatible.
So that's fantastic, right? That expansion and contraction is one of the things we hear about the most from everybody. PVCs are really bad, and composites are fairly bad, right? Build a deck, take a picture, leave, come back the next day, and the miters are all opened up. The homeowner's like, man, I spent so much money on my deck. What happened?
Right. So with this technology, we've been able to kind of take the concerns or challenges, if you will, with alternative decking and kind of solve those concerns with the Eovations technology. So exciting to talk about some new products for 19. We've got the new Voyage line. So deep variegated embossing, high streaking with enhanced traction. That's also a big concern in the alternative decking industry. Along with that, we've come out with a dark slate picture frame board. So this board spans 21 feet. So the idea here is if you...
In Canadian?
In Canadian.
21 feet in Canadian?
That's right.
So for your American listeners, that's tough. That's only 17 feet.
The exchange rate on it, right?
It's not going to work the way they had that plan.
So the idea with the 21 foot is for, most deck situation to be able to have one solid piece and still get a miter corner on each end. So that was the idea there. We've also come out with a sleeper system. There's a huge opportunity and trend going for rooftop decking. And this is also made out of our Eovations technology. And you can find more information on our exciting new products at decorators.ca.
Yeah.
Cool. Will your sleeper system help Wade not snore as much? Because like we've spent some.
He's sleeping right
Depending
now.
how you install it.
We're a new. Yeah. How about up his ass? I've spent a couple nights in the same hotel room as Wade because we're new company, small budget. If we go somewhere, we stay together.
Yeah.
And then like I wonder how he still has a wife.
Oh man,
It's
It's the lightweight up show today, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll get mine.
No, that'll happen.
a few things to answer your question on like what makes the Ovations different.
Yeah.
Though would be, you know, if you look at we often say strong, lightweight, stable, water and ground contact, and those are some of the short bullets that we could give to somebody when we're saying, hey, what's the difference? But when you dive into those, you know, the strong and the lightweight really work together. As Shannon said, it's the strongest strength to weight ratio on the market for a decking. It's incredibly strong, but it's also about the same weight as a PVC or about 35% lighter than a wood plastic. So really easy to work with on a job site, a really light board, but probably twice to more in strength than a PVC. We introduced that at Deck Expo in 2015 with the sledgehammer. If most people probably have heard of this, and it's the worst carnival game ever, but if you take a sledgehammer and you try to break this stuff, it's just not going to happen. It's incredibly strong, it's incredibly lightweight, and that stability, like you said, is just a big play. That we have some architects and some builders who actually spec it in markets like Montana or in Denver, where the heat swing and the cold swing is just extreme. They're looking for something that's going to be stable and not move on them. So it brings about a lot of benefits from other technologies without some of the shortcomings like thermal expansion, contraction, right. And then the ability to bury this stuff in the ground, install it in the water, and have the warranty cover those installations is another big difference with the board. So
yeah, it's pretty impressive to look at the the features and benefits page and see that it's got a lot of the benefits that we usually use to sell a PVC product. You know, usually better traction, lighter weight, screws easier. The one negative is like, well, it moves more, so it's hard to control your joints and whatnot. But to see that being a pro instead of a con with your product is pretty exciting, to be honest. It's like that one major drawback of some of the other products out there, you've solved that.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I know that we have spent the last couple of years trying not to launch your product in our store.
It's like, space is paid. Here you go.
So we like one of your distributors that you work with that has been telling us, like, you guys got to get Deckorators in your store. And we've been like, dude, we're full, man. Like, we've got so much product on the ground. We got so many brands in store. It's nothing against Deckorators as a brand. We just don't have the room. Who's going to go to bring you in? But when they brought the Voyage line to us this year and said, how about now?
Yeah, right.
We sat and we tried to find reasons not to.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, I don't know. Like, this stuff is some of the nicest looking coloring in the industry.
We were in Baltimore.
Traction is fantastic.
We were in Baltimore when I found the traction, right?
Yeah.
And so you're walking past the Decorators booth, and there's like the 4-foot samples were on the wall or like standing up, and you could see them, right? And right on it says new board, great traction. And then I walk into the booth, and it was installed, right, on the ground. So I'm like, oh yeah, great traction, right? And I went to slide my foot on it, and I tripped myself.
Right.
True story. I was like, I go into the booth, and all of a sudden I'm like, now I'm stumbling forward to people. Right. It's like, right, yeah, okay, so that works. Like, that's great traction.
And that's actually how he lost his thumb.
He stumbled in.
Don't worry.
Between the boards.
We're Canadian. We won't
didn't sue anybody. It was like, oh, that happens. I'm an idiot. So
what's great too is, we when you have that stuff down and you say enhanced traction, people are like, cool, and they do exactly what you did. Like, yeah, shrug your shoulders, and they go try it, and they're like, whoa. And then you put water on it, and it seems to get better. Like when stuff gets wet, we've tested it in different conditions on soft sole shoes, bare feet, and it provides 34% or greater surface traction than any board we've tested against in the industry.
That's crazy.
It's incredible.
Yeah, that's a great feature for sure, because that's a concern. People hear that composites can be slippery. Composites for you, just to make sure we're on. You know what I'm talking about. So
you know what we're talking about, yeah.
Composite from Michigan, right?
But that's what, exactly. But that's one of the
gets worse.
One of the things that homeowners hear about it, right? They've got a friend or neighbor that has some deck, and it's like, it's a little bit slippery when it gets wet. So nice to know that there's options out there that can't be, because we do have a lot of customers too that in our market, it's not like this may be everywhere, but not only do people have a deck in the back, but they've done their front deck, the steps to their house in a maintenance-free, low-maintenance material as well. And so that, because a lot of people say like, I'm not on my deck in the winter anyway, what does it matter if it's slippery?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, if it's on the front of your house though, and it's your main access to your house, then it suddenly matters a lot,
right?
If it's slippery or not. So it's nice to know that there's options out there.
Yeah, we actually offer, on the front of the house, the same technology, our Eovations technology. We offer a tongue and groove porch floor that also, same technology, 3 colors, installs just the same as a hardwood porch flooring, and just the same, no thermal expansion contraction. The sleeper systems work really well with that, actually. If you're going to go over your concrete porch, good system.
Nice segue, because I was just going to bring the sleepers thing up. I was like, we shouldn't glance over that because it's huge. It should be a boring product to talk about, but I saw it and got excited because I was like, this is awesome, because it's not that every deck goes out and needs a sleeper system, but the ones that do, rooftop decks over a concrete slab, whatever it might be, it's a challenge to say, like, what am I going to put under this thing that's not going to rot out? And currently, a lot of times we're using either like a treated 2x4 sleeper that we tape up to try to do a little bit more to help it, or you're ripping down material. To your point, some people rip down, some moisture shield or something that does well with. Or even your own board, right? You had a contractor that was ripping your board down because
that's actually where the idea came from. Yeah, so we had some builders that were like, your vault decking at the time is water and ground contact warranted. Would you honor that warranty if we ripped your board and started using it as a sleeper system? And we were like, well, what if we made a sleeper system? So let's just make this. And so, because if you put a wood plastic or some other decking 6 inches or less from the ground, that actually is not where that should be installed. And then on top of that, you're going to put it on a rooftop in that moisture situation. So when we created the vault and the voyage decking with the Eovations technology has the water and ground contact, you can put that on a rooftop and you're already safe, and then add the same technology as the structure underneath it. And you can set those sleepers directly onto a rubber membrane right over a concrete patio for a floating deck. And the whole system now is water and ground contact warranted, and it's a really easy system to install.
Yeah. The other nice thing about your sleeper, I'm not sure what the dimensions is. Is it 1.5 by 1.5?
by 1.5, yeah.
So nice thing about that too is that your fasteners that are going into it, unlike ripping down a piece of fascia deck board, they're not going to protrude through the bottom of the board, right? It's deep enough to allow the fastener not to poke through. Right. Which if you're putting it over top of a waterproof membrane on a rooftop or something,
absolutely,
it's sort of important.
Don't go through that membrane, right?
We did one of those, right? When we were before the store, before we had started, we did a
back when we were friends instead of just business partners.
Yeah,
ruined that.
Ruined it. Yeah. So found out we could work together that weekend, and it was like, well, let's do this. Want to open a store? So. It was a bunch of small, they were like 10 by 10 decks over top of a kitchen, right?
Yeah.
It was a sort of a 2-story building, and the main floor had a kitchen and then a roof that went over it, water membrane, and then so that we sleepered it with treated lumber that was wrapped, right?
That's what the engineers had called for, was a 2x4 laid down with EPDM membrane on the bottom, EPDM membrane like on the bottom of the 2x4.
Yeah.
So much work.
Meeting and easy.
It's a ton of work.
You're cutting, because the rolls of EPDM came this wide, you got to rip those all down, you got to stick them, roll them on, so on and so forth.
Primer, roll it on. Yeah. And then we get some callbacks because we had to use a certain Simpson fastener that was screwed to the side of the 2x4 and then screwed through the membrane, and then extra caulking around the screw, and it was like,
and there was an improper pitch on the rooftops to begin with. Like, we saw this right away and we were like, guys, I don't know this is the best way to do it. We told them, they came out, they inspected, they're like, yep, all good. I was like, okay.
Yeah, we did one and we phoned the architect, right? The people that had spec'd how it was to be done.
Yeah.
We're like, really?
Right.
Like this? And they're like, looks good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I was saying earlier, we're getting more builders and specifiers looking at the technology because of these attributes going, well, if we're going to be in these environments or in water, moisture situations, the material and that technology is just, doesn't really have limitations in those scenarios.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I mean, if that engineer had known about that product, if it was available at the time, that would have been a no-brainer. It's not how do we figure this out? It's like, no, there's a product for that. You use the Deckorators sleepers.
Yeah. And then on top of it just being, a great performing material, we stand behind it with this warranty that, like you've mentioned before, stain and fade, structural, that's a common warranty in the industry, but we will stand behind it with the removal and replacement warranty, and that includes labor. So if something happens because of the manufacturing or something that happened because of us with that product, we are going to take it out, replace the product, and pay for the labor to take care of that, because that's on us. And it's just added to the technology. So
full transparency on this, and I don't know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask live because that's what this is all about. This is not a paid for ad. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
How does the warranty work in reality? Like, you're not going to get 100% back in year 20. Nobody does that.
Right.
It's prorated.
It is prorated.
And the labor side of it is as well?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So it diminishes until year 25 and then 26 you're done kind of thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we really haven't, knock on wood, we haven't really had to use that warranty yet because our product.
Knock on wood, it's like good luck around here, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, knock on composite, right?
That's right. This one looks a lot like wood over here. Not sure it has the same.
Yeah.
But that's something we really pride ourselves on in the brand is if something we put out product that we absolutely believe in. So if something were to go wrong with it, we will take care of it. We will come to bat on that. So
That's so huge, not only for the homeowner that's paying for this in the first place, but the contractor who puts it on. Because in the event you get a warranty claim, and they're few and far between with any of the major brands, but they happen from time to time through,
No fault of anyone, right?
Yeah,
it's no fault of the manufacturer. It's not the guy that puts the pellets in the machine. It's just like it just didn't work.
Sometimes you get a bad batch, something, right? So in the event that it happens, though, the worst case scenario is that, not the worst. The worst would be no warranty at all, I guess, which is what you'll get with some of these knockoff brands you'll find in certain places for dirt cheap. You get what you pay for. But what's really bad still is, okay, fine, we're going to cover the deck boards, but the homeowner's still up. They're on the hook for the removal of the existing decking and the redeck of the new stuff.
And then the builder has to actually go back and take time to
So they're still out, whatever, $12 a square foot to remove and put that back on. That's a big cost again. And the contractor who put it on, well, he's in a tough spot. He's like, boy, oh boy, like, do I warranty this? Do I?
Yeah, and it's his reputation, her reputation, and
exactly.
And for us, we just believe we have equal skin in this game. That our contractors are our partners and our dealers are our partners. So
that's huge.
If that's going to go out with our name on it, then we're not going to pass the buck.
That's right, and that's how it should be looked at. Yeah. Like, the homeowner's not buying their deck product from,
Shane.
Deckman Contracting.
Right.
He is invested in a partnership with the manufacturer that made it, and the distributor that got it into town, and the retailer that sold it, and the contractor that put it in. Everybody's got skin in the game when that ends up on their.
And inevitably, it's just the right thing to do, and I turn a negative into a positive in a much more exponential way, right? You take the situation, make it better. The halo effect is even better. Like, why would you not make this right?
Exactly.
Yeah. The amount that it costs you to fix that,
right,
is nowhere near the damage that's done by not.
Absolutely.
Right?
So and as we work towards, building our Certified Pro program, this is something that we really pride ourselves in is, again, to what Jase mentioned, that partnership and making sure that we're protecting the reputation of those pros that are out, pitching our product.
So do we want to jump to that? That was on the list, so let's segue into that.
We have a list?
Tell us about it. Yeah. Yeah, it's in my brain, right? But so Certi Pro program. So you have contractors that are certified contractors. How does that happen?
Yeah, we do. So if you're a builder and you're interested in becoming certified with Deckorators as a Deckorators Certified Pro, we have a fairly easy program to get certified. We just we do require you have a builder's license and insurance. Then you apply for that. One of our account managers or somebody will contact you, and we get you through there's multiple ways you can do this. We have online training, we have workshops where you can get trained in person, and then we get you certified in the family. And then with that, there's reward points, and there's a lot of benefits that come to being a certified pro. Like the first to know about new things that we have coming out from product or programs or otherwise, and we do training even beyond the certification. We'll bring contractors to the plant to see how we make the product. Top earning certified pros earn a trip to the Pro Summit every year. We just had it in San Diego, and we take that opportunity to listen. Our contractors are really part of our product development. Really, they come to us, and our job is just to listen. What can we do to make it better for you? What are we missing? What are we doing well? And a lot of the new things that we came out with even this year came from us just really listening to our certified pros. 8-inch fascia, the sleeper system was, contractors trying to do something with it. Like, well, let's just help them.
Picture frame board at 21 feet.
Yeah.
So that's a big one too, from my background as a contractor, and even selling here, because a lot of people come in with a 20-foot deck, and we always urge people when they come in with a common dimension like 20-foot, 16-foot, 12-foot, we're always like, why don't you make that a little bit wider? Because they're usually doing a picture frame anyway.
Yeah. But they're
going to cut they put on 16-foot boards and they cut a few inches off each end to put that board in. It's like, why don't you just make that deck one joist wider and go 20-foot 8, right? That way you're getting some free square footage instead of throwing it in the garbage can. But the trick is always, well, then that front border board that has to be pieced together now because it's only 20 feet long, not 20 foot 3 or whatever, right?
Yep.
So that 21 foot was something I had never thought of giving feedback to any of the manufacturers for. You know, they're like, what can we do better? I've never thought, like, solve that problem. It's just how it was. But when you guys did it, was like, well, finally somebody actually did it. Like, somebody
that's really good. Somebody thought about that.
Yeah, we'd love to take credit for that, but you know, it's what I was talking about with our pros. You know, we listen to, you know, we get on the job site with them and we understand what they're trying to do, and our job is to solve problems. You know, we're ultimately in the business of providing decking and railing and products, but ultimately we're solving problems for builders, and that's what we want to do.
You guys are great at it too, because when you guys first showed up, we said we're hungry, and I haven't been hungry for the last 6 hours because of it. Like, you solved that. You went over and above.
I might not eat tomorrow, actually.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, that was intense.
Local shout out, Caraway Grill in Regina, Saskatchewan. Great spot.
Great spot.
Probably the best Indian food in Canada, we heard.
From what we heard.
We're in the Justin.
Right? Yeah.
So,
sales guy who...
Yeah, if we can get a sponsorship from Tourism Saskatchewan now. Speaking of which,
yeah, there's a YouTube video. Whoever's listening and you want to know about Regina,
we better share this.
You got to go to YouTube and just... I was planning my trip to come visit these guys, and so I looked on YouTube for... Everybody already knows about this, and there's a video that's literally called Experience Regina, and I'm not kidding. It's incredible. I can't explain it. You have to watch this, and then
you gotta watch it for yourself.
You haven't lived until you've experienced Regina, right?
Experience Regina, right? And I'm doing no justice to the singing in this video, but
you're not.
It sounded about right to me. It sounded like it was
making my falsetto going. But, as my plane was landing in Regina, like this earworm was humming in my head of Experience Regina.
So you're gonna love it. You'll want to do it again. That's for sure.
Everybody from Regina has been familiar with that video, and it's always just been kind of a funny thing that somebody did at some point. I don't know that it ever crossed my mind that would be anybody's real first experience.
It was
Regina. Like,
it was my first experience, and I couldn't book my ticket fast enough. I was like, I'm going to experience Regina right now. So, absolutely,
and you'll be back.
Yeah. So then you'll want to experience it on the weekends and after a couple beers.
Right.
So, let's bring this back here before we get too far derailed. Decorators start out balusters, post caps, etc.
Yes.
Decking doesn't end there. You guys are really kind of expanded your product line. You've got some railing out there now as well.
We do.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we started as a railing accessory company with post caps and balusters. And since we've really just expanded heavily in our aluminum railing program. So when you hear the words or the letters ALX, that's our aluminum railing family. And we have a few tiers of that: ALX Classic, ALX Contemporary, and ALX Pro. So ALX Pro would be our 2x4 profile, which works with all of our balusters, including the face mount balusters. Okay. ALX Contemporary is one of our newest lines, and that is it's an anodized aluminum, comes pre-assembled in two profiles, a rectangle and a round. And the anodized aluminum is something no one else is doing. It's not a powder coat. It's actually like an oxidation process in the metal that makes the aluminum look like stainless steel. So it's scratch resistant, corrosion resistant. It looks like stainless steel, but not at stainless steel price, right? Okay. And it's a great product that the color really works with any decking. It's not like a white or a black that, it's fairly neutral. So, and that goes to our whole piece of, we look what's happening inside the house and try to bring it out. So we saw distressed wood flooring happening on our inside the house, and we brought out heritage decking with the unique distressed embossing. We saw stainless steel and matte black happening on fixtures and sinks and faucets, and we decided to bring that outside and use that as a finish on railing. And because these decks are becoming extensions of like a living room with French doors, right? You want that to continue out. Yeah. And that's really what we look at in product development is how can we take these things that are happening in the house, like distressed flooring and fixture finishes, and bring it outside so there's a continuation there.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw that railing, the anodized aluminum, and I think it was at Deck Expo potentially. I don't remember what show it was at, but it's very rare for me to do like a full stop on something anymore, because like we're pretty investigative about new products and stuff. Usually we've seen stuff before, but I remember seeing it the first time and it was just like full stop, turn around and be like, look at that.
It's
like, that's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's different, right? It looks a little bit, so it's a slick looking system for sure.
Yeah, it's been a great product. We're going to expand in that area quite a bit. So look for more finishes and things happening there. So
good. Anything else coming from Deckorators that we don't?
Oh man, there's always.
Do you want to make any
something coming.
gigantic product announcements?
Oh, man.
Industry changing things that
I'll leave it at
nobody
this.
saw coming?
We're going to be at JLC Live. It's always a great show for us. And then Deck Expo, we've become kind of known as product launchers at that show. So like you said, you did the double take on some things. That's where we unveil what's new for the next season, really. So if you're planning on Deck Expo and answer some of your trivia questions in Louisville, Kentucky next year, we'll have new stuff. That's what we love to do, is innovate and put new stuff out there. And like I said, the products have to solve problems, and that's what we're trying to do.
So I like that you guys launched the products at Deck Expo.
Yeah.
Lots of companies will hold on to it and they'll launch at IBS.
Yeah, that's tough on you guys, I imagine.
The show is incredibly huge. Like the square footage that you have to cover to find this stuff is, it's hard.
Right.
And you walk past taps and sinks and lights and interior flooring. If you're going to launch decking or decking related products, it just makes sense to me that Deck Expo would be the place to do that, right?
It's the
I get it that IBS has a bigger draw and there's more people there, but if you're going to launch a decking product to decking guys and girls,
do it at the Ultimate Deck Shop.
Yeah.
do it at the Ultimate Deck Shop.
Right.
or Deck Expo.
Well, that's what the name of the show has deck in it, and it's a targeted, show for us. And then it's also a really good time of year for us because that's when we're talking to our distributors, and it gives people a heads up of you can plan your year, right? Like, oh, this is what's coming. Kind of like cars come out with the 2020 in the fall, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way we've found that it works well across our channel. So
launch it in the fall. Give the people, like the retailers, an opportunity to purchase that, put some POs in, pull through, comes through distribution, etc. Lands on the floor for spring, ready to go.
Absolutely.
Right?
And actually, what we found is we do some unveiling of some things, and we're pretty tight, ready to go. But we might actually get some feedback from contractors, and then it gives us room to go. You know what? You're right. Let's make that board 21 feet. Let's do that.
Yeah, because you can stop where the extruder cuts it off, right? It's running it. It's like just running out.
Right.
Okay.
It's a upholsterer.
Right. Well, sorry, I haven't been there. I don't know.
Well,
They do things differently, Wayne.
There's two.
Have you been paying attention?
In Prairie du Chien, they do co-extrude composite wood plastic, but in Selma, Alabama, we pull-trude our composite, and that's how Ovations is made. So.
Was that when I was on the phone earlier?
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't here. I was on the phone.
Fine. You get a pass.
Busy.
So I thank you guys for coming on to the show here.
Thank you so much for having
Making a
us.
trip
Absolutely.
to Regina, right?
Yeah, this industry. That's right. This industry is a people industry. You guys have made a great impression on us right from before I even got here. Just the interactions over Instagram that we were kind of doing, and when you guys showed up, it was definitely right away. It was an easy kind of conversation to have with you guys, and
Awesome.
appreciate you being so friendly and welcoming, and so on and so forth. So
Thank you for having us, and what you're doing is just so good for the industry, man. This is great.
good, appreciate that. Yeah. So I don't want to leave this without saying you guys need to go look up the Experience Regina video now. It's on YouTube.
It's a must.
There's an original video, The Experience Regina. You can also search for Jimmy Fallon. That song made it to Jimmy Fallon somehow.
Right.
So if somebody's looking for it, while you're on YouTube, look up our show on YouTube, The Ultimate Deck Show.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that these are two different things. You get a lot of people like, yeah, the podcast, I watched it the other day. It's like, no, the show on YouTube is different from the podcast. Two different content, two different topics, et cetera, et cetera. Plus, then you get to see Wade's innovation on YouTube.
It is.
And his growth
beautiful
potential.
eBay hair, yeah.
Innovation. Yeah, my growth potential for sure.
So make sure you go to
Follow
YouTube.
along. It's great.
Search for The Ultimate Deck Show and please subscribe. Give us a follow there. Anything else? I think we're done here.
Did we? The only thing I thought we should mention is maybe the thickness of the decorator board.
Oh, we can get into that.
I know you're about to wrap
How
it up.
about the thickness of the decorator board?
How thick is your board?
Well, do you want that in Canadian or US?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, give us millimeters. Make them work. Make the odds work a little bit.
Yeah.
All of our Deckorators decking is 5.5 inches wide and 7/8 of an inch thick.
Yep.
Yep.
That's like 20 millimeters, I think.
Nobody knows.
The three of us are supposed to know. We're
Yeah,
magic
I don't
up
know.
here.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm out of this one. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I bowed out.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Anyways, that was it. That was the only thing that I thought we missed.
Good. That didn't ruin the flow of the close at all.
Okay, go ahead. Start again.
Okay, so anyway,
Welcome to the Ultimate. No.
Yeah.
thank you guys for listening. Tune in again next week. And like I said, go check out that YouTube show. We really appreciate it. Until next week, so long.